I got told to put an elastic band on my wrist, and for me, that works well in the kitchen too. Flick an elastic band, and when your mind's going, and I was in the kitchen for about 2 hours and heard all the boys coming at me going, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" So I went like that. It was gone, done, right, done. And I thought, there ain't no help for me.
Hey there, listeners. Tonight we are in for a treat as we welcome a true warrior of the mind, the one and only Cockney Buddha himself. From the streets of southeast London to the depths of inner peace, his journey is as eclectic as it is empowering. Get ready for a conversation that'll touch your soul and ignite your spirit. Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Cockney Buddha, man. Thanks for being here.
Hey, good man. I'm glad you asked me to come on. And there's a thing that I saw Rick Rubin doing an interview once, and he basically just stopped the interview, didn't even start, and he sat there and he said, "Can we just take a few breaths?" And it was just the calm, just getting ready, calming the mind, getting the heart rate down, which I need to do right now. So it's just, we're just going to take a few breaths. No, nothing big, 30 seconds or so, nothing major. And we're just going to breathe a little bit, right?
Yeah. Let's do it.
And we'll just close our eyes and just relax a little bit. Just relaxing your eyes down, allowing them like drapes just to hang, and be aware of the breath going in through the nose. And just take a nice deep breath in. Don't force anything. Just pause at the top and just allow it to release out nice and slow. And do that 2 more times. Just relax the body, relax the mind. 1 more time. Yeah, that's good. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Needed that, thank you, brother.
Just to relax it down a little bit. You know what I mean? I sure bet me too.
Yeah, I totally needed that. I'm so glad to have you here because I think your story is so amazing. And so I want to ask you, your journey from experiencing mental health challenges, right, to becoming a source of support for others is so inspiring.
Thank you.
Can you share with us some of the pivotal moments that shaped your path?
Wow. That's a heavy question. Pivotal moments that shaped my past. Do you mean with my mental health, or where it went with the mental health side of it? I mean, the first kind of pivotal moment was understanding that hang on, there's something going on.
Right.
Like, and understand. Like, I got into chefing. I'm a fully qualified chef, so I got into the kitchens and started to realize. I mean, even when I was in college, I knew there was something there because it was just unusual fear. It wasn't like that. I could understand it. There wasn't things there that was actually scary, but here I am, like, scared, and thinking, okay, something's going on here. But I mean, that lasted out for a while in mental health for me. Until I got out into the world of kitchens, and then started actually working professionally. And then it was getting a bit naughty because I had to give up jobs and was walking out of kitchens, out of jobs, because this was just going freaking low, right? It was just going nuts, and the fear got to just ridiculous. And there's no better environment to stoke the flames of anxiety than a kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, I only worked a little bit in a country club in the kitchen, and I saw what those chefs went through. I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's madness.
Yeah.
It's absolute madness. And so once I got down to where I got into my last kitchen was the House of Commons in London. And when the chef that I interviewed with said to me, "Hey, you've been for a few jobs, you might want to hold one down." And I'm like, well, I want to.
Right.
And then I knew there was a problem. Because then I started working in that kitchen, and you got moved around all different sections and shit like that, and it weren't going anywhere. This was just raging, crazy. And I started drinking to, be able to do a shift. I'd go over to the club and start drinking. That's what started a problem there. So I started going over in my lunch before I went back on shift and drinking to just freaking have that courage. to be
Yeah.
able to do it, the service. And then I got in, it was like, okay. And I went and saw another pivotal part was actually going to see somebody,
Right.
which turned out to be a right bunch of shit. It really was. She didn't tell me shit. I don't know even if they said anything. I can't remember, right? And I got palmed off with a pill. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know anything.
Right.
And I got palmed off with a pill. I didn't even know what it was. And, I got told to put an elastic band on my wrist. And yeah, that works well in the kitchen. So flick an elastic band and, when your mind's going. And, I was in the kitchen for about 2 hours and heard all the boys coming at me going, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
Yeah. And so I went like that. It was gone, done, right? Done. And I thought, there ain't no help for me. That went. I thought, shit, therapy, forget it, right? But it was the understanding of that. Okay, there's something, and then the biggest pivotal moment for me, because I still didn't know what it was. I didn't have a name for it. I had no idea that it was, something that people deal with. I thought I was mad, right? Scared over stuff that sort of don't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
And the next biggest bit for me was when I moved to the US. And I moved to the US and started going in kitchens. Same thing was happening, right? It was all kicking off again. My poor wife didn't freaking really know. Right. And then 3 o'clock in the morning, I was going to be going to work in a country club like the next day. And 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sitting up in bed, absolutely bawling my eyes out, losing it. Like, thought I was gone. Like, don't know what's going on, scared as shit. It's like I was facing the freaking electric chair the next day or something. It was, I mean, obviously I haven't faced that, so I have no idea what it actually feels like. But I can only imagine, right? You didn't lose your life the next day. That's what it felt like. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then my wife, she got on the phone because I was like, I don't know what's going on. She's looking at me like,
Is that why you moved to the U.S.? Because I imagine moving to a whole nother country also would add to that.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I moved to the US because my missus.
Right.
And, we met each other when I was over here on a visit. And then, one thing that we could talk about if you want to, but, one thing went to another. And, we ended up getting married, but it was a whole process of me getting in the country.
Right. Yeah.
Right. There was a whole process to it, and the immigration, and, my dad dying 5 days later after I got here. So, yeah, there was a big piece of it that had a good bearing on the anxiety.
I mean, not only are you working in kitchens that are crazy anxious,
yeah,
how you move your whole life from a country that you're comfortable from to one you don't know. I mean, I imagine your anxiety was like...
It's funny how, how we perceive something and then it ain't really that, right? Yep. And, I perceive the US, hey, they don't talk English.
Well, different types of English.
I found that out. Right. It's like in England, mate. You go around London. I mean, if you're in my neck of the woods in London, but you come from North London, they're like, no, we're in North Londoner. But they're a Londoner. Right. Like, you're from over there. But no, I thought, they'll speak English. What can go wrong? Even when they get on a bus, I'm getting on a freaking plane. And how long that was. It added a whole new level to my anxiety because I was now conscious of my accent.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. I can see that.
All of a sudden, people ain't understanding me.
Right.
You speak English. Why you not understand? Right? I honestly had to start becoming conscious because I used to talk a lot faster than this. I mean, some people in London didn't know what I was freaking saying because I was it was like this and faster.
Right.
And a shit ton of slang, everything slang. I mean, because I was only on the other side. I was only on the other side of the East End where the slang kind of took off, like the Cockney slang took off, you know. But
Yeah.
and then it spread out. So you know, when if you heard my old man, he talked like me. So I had a good teacher, right? Even though I remember being a kid, and he's going butter, and I'm going butter, and he's going sugar, and I'm going sugar. You know, I'm saying it with the, you know, trying to teach me, and they just gave up. Just gave up, mate. So it was, yeah, relatives, but I became very, very conscious of it. Very, very conscious of it. And you know, down to I'd be out and ask for water, right? And I'd be in a place and I go, yeah, I just want water. What? I just want water. And I'm like, so now I say water because it's understood. I became conscious. I've got to change the habit of what I'm used to. You know, and it weren't easy. And when you go in the kitchens over here, professional kitchens, shit's different in there too. Cuts of meat are different. You call certain vegetables different. I learned all classic French. And you're cutting something up over here, and you're like, that's not how you cut it. And you're like, what? Because the way I was trained,
right,
for me, you know,
right.
So then I think it's all the same. I think, oh, everybody follows that, right? No.
So did that just add, right? Because now you have this anxiety. Now you're in this new country. Now, like you said, you got to be mindful of the way you talk. You got to be mindful of what you do. Like, I can't imagine for a guy who's dealing with such anxiety what that did.
Oh, mate. Like I say, it just adds another layer. You know, the anxiety was already there and was pretty bad before I even got in the country. Right.
Right.
So then it was just all of a sudden there's another layer coming in. Oh, now no one understands me.
Right.
Oh, I need health insurance? What's that?
Oh, that's right.
Right? It's like, we have to pay what?
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, you freaking get something wrong with, you know, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a great service over there. It's gone a little bit to shit because it's, you know, there's demand, right? Demand and supply. And, you know, you can overrun a system, you know, to where you can't provide anymore, you know, not the service that you were used to. But if you broke an arm, you didn't have to pay for it. Well, you was, because it's called national insurance stamp. They call it a national insurance. So you're paying, I think I was paying like, I don't know, $3 or $4 out of my paycheck every other week or something, right? Nothing, really. In the grand scheme of what I was getting paid, right, which was nothing.
Right. But I know what you mean. I mean, I know when I lived in Canada, my ex, same thing, right? They have the same thing. They have the coverage. But the issue there was, to your point, the system was so overloaded that a lot of them couldn't get, you know, surgeries and stuff they needed. They actually would end up trekking from Canada to the United States because they couldn't wait the amount of time it was going to take for them to get whatever surgery they needed. So everything has its pros and cons.
Well, and that's happening, you know, it's got a little worse, and it's a shame because, you know, I know growing up, it was a good system, you know, it works. And, but when you come from that, and then it's like, break an arm, you know, oh, you might be out a good few grand. Scratching one, like, what do you mean? How much? Like, shit. I mean, you've experienced a bunch of it yourself. You're an idiot. How many Americans have I bumped into? Like, that have had money in their bank account.
Oh, yeah. It'll be wiped clean with one accent.
Yeah. And you wiped out.
Yeah.
I've got a problem with that.
Oh, I do too. And then put mental health on the thing isn't even on there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we're not going to cover, or, you know, if we do cover, it's minimal. So, which is ironic on a whole other level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was something that surprised me when I went, you know, in Canada, we had to go for one of my ex had to do something, and we went to go see a mental health counselor there. And what was interesting to me was putting her on an antidepressant was like the last thing.
Oh, wow. Really? Wow.
Yeah, like they wanted to try, and I was just blown away because, like, to your point, in America, they give it out like candy. You know what I mean? And they're like, no. We do that as the last resort. We're going to do all these other things, you know, to help deal with stuff. And I'm like, wow. It was mind blowing to see how another country deals with mental health.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can only speak for London again,
Right,
or England or Britain, I should say.
right,
But I've noticed with people over there, they're on a waiting list, dude. They could be other people. Well, their head is gone, right?
right,
And when you live that life, when you got mental health yourself, and then you see somebody that it's like, oh, that's really crucial. They get to see somebody
right,
like quick, you know, and then you talk to them and they're like, oh no, I'm on a waiting list. What?
yeah,
Oh, unless you want to pay for it, but you can't afford it, you
right,
know, because it's like, yeah, if you got bags and bags and bags of dough, sure, but a lot of people ain't with bad mental health, and and that's where the system lets people down because it's you're crying out for help because you can't, you haven't got may not have the funds or something, and you're crying out for help, and you've got a system, a government that's supposed to look after the people, and they're going, oh yeah, sure, oh you're suicidal, oh well come back in a month.
right. There's no, well, they don't exactly. It's like time frames, and then and you probably have experienced this when you may not like your first therapist. You may have to find 2, 3, 4 different therapists before you find one that works. I lucked out and liked the first one I went to, and it worked out. But that I understand I'm the exception. I'm not the norm.
Yeah.
Most people, find have to go through 3, 4, right? Which I think is something you had to deal with.
Oh mate, yeah, for sure. Are you in therapy now? Do you do therapy now?
I don't. I haven't done therapy in probably, it's been a few years. I did a full year of EMDR therapy. And I didn't even know that's what it was. You know what I mean? Like when I went into her, I happened to find her through a friend, and it was totally the universe bringing her to me at the time. I did it. She said, listen, when I went in there, she's like, I'm not one of those therapists that sit here and take notes and don't say anything. To your point, the one that didn't. She's like, we're gonna talk and we're gonna work through this, and then I'm gonna use EMDR to help you. But we've got to start from the beginning. We've got to start at your childhood and work up to your brain injury. And I was like, that's fine. I didn't care. I told her, I said, listen, I'll do whatever you need me to do. I just don't want to feel like this anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's like, great, perfect. She's like, you're a perfect client. Like, let's do it. And she did. She, it was not a sit there and take notes. It's, we're going to talk and we're going to get through this.
Yeah, that's how I do it. You can't. It's like if someone comes and sits in front of me with substance abuse of some kind, right? I don't look at the substance. I look at the why.
Right.
What's going on there? Because I know when I was drinking alcohol, what it did for this. It worked, right? But it's got so much other shit that comes with it,
right?
That you're clasping that one piece that works for that something in your freaking head, like it just can't. It calms that shit down. So when I get someone sits in front of me and I know that ain't the way because I know I've done it,
right?
And then someone sits in front of me with a substance abuse problem, I think it kind of knocks them off guard a little bit when I'm like, okay, you're an alcoholic, yeah, all right, forget the alcohol a minute.
Right. Right.
I'm here to quit. Okay, forget the alcohol a minute.
Right.
Let's look at the reasons why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And then work from there and just go back and find out where it all started, and then what the emotion around it is, and what was going on at the time, and what age was you, and what did you witness? What did you see? Was your parents there? Was one missing? How did they speak to you? I mean, there's so many different programs. Believe me now, there's studies done, and I don't know if you know this, but there's studies done now where they say that the baby in the womb is affected.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it knows.
It knows. You feel everything the mother's feeling, so if she's under distress, it's taking that on, you know what I mean? And there's all these studies showing that. It comes out, I just did something, it was a shamanic journeying, and I went through an hour of questioning, and one of the questions was, what do you remember about your birth? What were you told about your birth? How was your mother during your birth? How was your father? Like, all I was like, whoa, and just, you know what I mean? It made me think about my whole entire childhood, questions I've never even been asked or thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you do
and I'm like,
ayahuasca? Ayahuasca?
huh?
Did you do
No, it
ayahuasca?
was one of my friends. She's been on the podcast. She's going to come back. She is getting certified in this transpersonal therapy, psychology, and shamanic journeying. So it's kind
Wow.
of the same journeying you would do with ayahuasca without the ayahuasca.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really potent stuff to help you, your subconscious really reprogram things. And, I'm all about trying anything as long as it,
Yeah.
not hurting me. What do I have? And I trust her. So it's fantastic to see the work and the treatment. She's helping people in significant ways to do
Wow.
that. To your point, you got to get to the core, right?
Yeah, it's where it's at, man.
And for you, were you able to do that? Because you were in New York City, you came here in the States.
well,
Your wife,
I moved to Maryland first. I moved to Maryland.
okay,
I moved to Maryland. That's where I first came into the country. Was in Maryland.
okay,
Went to Germantown. It was like 2,000 freaking feet above sea level, and it was freaking brass monkeys, mate. It was freaking cold as shit. That winter would come in, mate, and we got no money. We got no money. We can just afford rent.
yeah.
Right.
Adds anxiety. So, like, how do you you have that major breakdown? Like, how do you then find a therapist? Like, where do you go from there?
It was basically, okay, we know what it is now. My wife figured out, because they said on the phone, he's got anxiety, he's got bad, and he's having a panic attack right now. I don't know, right? And my wife got off the phone and she goes, okay, we know what it is. I'm like, what is it? And she goes, you got anxiety and you're having a panic attack. What's that? You think you're even mad now? It's called something?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah.
So and then my wife made some phone calls because I was, believe it or not, deathly afraid of the phone. Was one of my phobias.
Really?
Yeah. Couldn't pick the phone up. Could not. The phone would ring, and I would even pick it up and know. Now remember, there were no cell phones when I came here, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You plugged the phone in the wall.
Right.
Right?
The landline.
A landline, yeah. And if you managed to have a phone that would plaster up the number on there to where, and then you got to know the numbers, which I'm shit math, mate. So numbers, forget about it, right? Even if I see a fat number, I'm panicking. Right, it's numbers. Oh shit,
Right.
But no, I'm joking there. No, the phone would ring, and I don't even know who's on the other end.
What were you afraid of? Like, what was the fear?
And I know where it stems from as well, because I've done the work with it. I mean, how am I doing this?
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Right? But the fear itself was one, holding a conversation. What do I say?
Okay.
Right? I think that was one of the first fears that would crop up. What do I say? How do I hold a conversation? Because I had self-worth. What's that? I didn't have any of that. I've only learned what self-worth is, really, over the past few years.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have any.
Right.
So, and then I was afraid that if I got on the phone, I've got to hold the conversation. Automatic, like, oh well, I've got to freaking hold a conversation. What do I talk about? What do I, it didn't come into my mind that I can spend 5 minutes and go, hey man, listen, I've got to, no. It was like, I guess, like a pleasing them, some kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that I could say, hey, listen, man, I've got to split and hang up.
Right.
I kept them on the phone until they were ready to go. So now I've got to keep this up.
You got to perform.
Right. So it's the only thing I can think of, like off the top of my head, where I would go. Like I had to put myself back there because it's been a while since I've, kind of. Every now and again, I still get it. Every now and again, I just get that, but I do it anyway. It's not click, push back into the filth and just not answer the phone. I'll click, but then I'll you know, and it's funny because this work broke me of it. And there's a story behind it, which is really, it's a crazy story. Do you want to hear it? I can tell you.
I want to hear it. It's a crazy story. Come on.
It was, and the person that helped me break it is a really good friend of mine now.
Yeah.
Right. That was a client of my therapist.
That's crazy.
Cool.
All the same way.
And I think it was a text one night. And I won't mention any names or anything like that, but I got a text one night from my therapist. She wasn't my therapist, right? I got a text from my therapist this one night because I was just getting into helping and realizing there's something there, right? Because there's a story behind that too, obviously. You know how I got here, but it all happened with my therapist who got me where I'm at, right?
Right.
And lost my train of thought. Where was I at? Lost my train of thought.
You were talking about how her client got you to help you get over your fear of the phone.
Right. So I get a text from my therapist, and she's like, "I've got a bit of an emergency." It was like 9 o'clock at night. I didn't remember it. It's funny, isn't it? When you break something,
yeah,
you can like freaking remember it like yesterday. Like I can do that with different things, right? Because it was that poignant, like you said, right?
Yeah.
So I get a text, Steve, I've got a bit of a crisis. Can you help me? From my therapist. Can you get on the phone? What?
Oh.
Right? Excuse me. Can you get on the phone? I've been working with you about the phone. Hello. Fear of the phone.
Now you're asking me to get on it.
Now you're asking me. Damn it. Because what pushed me past the fear, because if it was just, can you get on and talk to me, it might not have happened. Right? What pushed me, that moment when I pressed that freaking button and got on the phone, and it was a three-way call. It wasn't just, right? I don't know. I know my therapist. I don't know the other person. I've got no idea. Right? I don't know what's going on. I'm being called into something that I didn't think I'd ever be doing this.
Right.
So, you know, him, I know, to me, I don't know shit. But my therapist thinks I've got something. So I'm like, I'm going to help somebody. Switch. That's what did it. It was looking at a crisis situation, the understanding of somebody is in freaking crisis, because that was the word used. Steve, I've got someone in crisis. Can you help me? I'm getting choked thinking about it.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't expect that.
But it's heartfelt.
Oh, mate.
No, I believe you, because it makes total sense to me, quite honestly.
Holy shit.
That's why I'll tell you, like, if you're feeling really bad about your life, go help somebody else. There's a reason, because, like, you know, our human mind, to your point, flips. Yeah. And it's not anymore. It's about somebody else.
Yeah. Even getting on video calls, right? Even when you asked me to do this, the old me would have said no, because the fear would have been too big. But it's in the realm of mental health. I can help people, right? Someone's asking me to freaking come on their channel. They think something, you, right? You're obviously looking and seeing things that I'm banging out there, and, you know, I'm Instagram and YouTubing and all, you know, and I, you know, I put out there in the universe that I wanted to meet people like you, right? And a bunch of other people, and it's come to me, right? But that freaking, that night when I got that message and I said, I looked at I swear to God, man, I looked at the phone and I thought, oh no, and I went, beep, and pressed the, you know, call, join in. I think she might have been calling me. I think my therapist might have been calling me. And I hit that answer. And then, you know, there was my therapist and this other person. She introduced me to this person. It ended with my therapist saying, hey, Steve, can you carry for me? I've got a split. That was it. The whole one. It was one of those moments when all of a sudden I'm starting to realise I can help people. I can communicate somehow. You know?
Yeah.
Being able to communicate with the person when, the crisis that they were in, I'd never been in.
Right.
Right. But also understanding. Now I know what it all is all about because, I'm an empath. I didn't know what that was, right? I got told that, right? Now it's that tuning in to the other person. And I started to realize that, I can communicate with people when I'm even, but I have, so it just went from there, man. That was my fanfare. And it took a while. I'm not going to say it just automatically bosh and went away. It took a few of me going, all right, I'm going to call. That was the next thing because I was getting called, right? So all of a sudden, me calling somebody, which was the nature of the game that we're in, right? Making calls. Yeah. And then the understanding of if I don't make this call, then I'm not helping this person.
Yeah.
Right? So you make the call. It's not about me, right? It's not about me. It's about someone in this world can communicate with me. And if they can communicate with me, and I'm the only one in the freaking world that can help them get out of something in their head, and so be it. I'll do whatever I gotta do. And I heard my therapist one day, and I carried this with me. I used to, when I was like learning this a little bit, I used to go over to her office and talk to clients with her. And I was sitting there this one day, and she was on my left, and the person was on the right. And I remember her leaning forward to the person and saying, "I will do whatever I have to do to get the job done." And that means with her, because I know her very well now. I mean, she calls me a co-worker. I know her really, really well now. And, the only way you get people over that line is by going against the rules.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen her, the fact that she's pushed me into this profession is completely against the rules. I mean, it just don't exist. It don't happen, So it was meant to happen. But when I heard her say that, I was like, that's the motto. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get a job done. Right? Sometimes you got to lean on them a little bit. They've got that passion, and there's that little bit, and you just got to lean in a little bit and go right. And when they take that step, I said to one person, when I got hypnotized once, like I'm looking at you, I saw, and I'm not even religious, dude. Right, I am, but I'm spiritual religious. You know what I mean? So I saw Jesus Christ standing there, and I saw a freaking guru with long dreadlock hair, clear as day. Right, and I'm like, I mean, it's weird with hypnosis. Have you been hypnotized before? Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I've done it several times. I have a good friend who's a hypnotist, and I've done it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you know that you were out?
Not really. You know what I mean? Like I knew. It's weird. It's your point. You are awake, but you're not awake.
Yeah, it's strange.
Right. It is strange. You know what I mean? And depending on the hypnotist, and if they're like, you'll remember this coming out and do this. So it is strange because yes, you're awake, but you're not physically awake.
Right. And I knew I was out. That was a thing, but I'm in this world that's real.
Yes.
I'm like
very real. Yeah.
Right. So I see Jesus Christ standing there, and I've said this to clients, but I saw Jesus Christ standing there, and I saw this guru fella.
Yeah.
Right. And the guru fella turns around to me and he goes, "Keep going on the path you're on. Keep doing what you're doing." Right. And then Jesus Christ pipes up and he goes, "If you trip, I'll catch you." I'm like, what? And I come back and I come up out of it. And because my therapist she does that, right? So she was the one to knock me out. And she's sitting across the room for me, and I'm kind of laying down a bit, kind of waking up. You know how you come out of it, right?
Yeah, you come around, yeah.
It feels like you've been freaking knocked out if it's done right? And I'm coming up out of it, and I know what I've seen.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's crystal clear when you awaken.
Oh mate, yeah. And I'm looking at her, and she goes, "What happened?" And I'm like, I ain't saying shit. I
She knows, though. She's done this long enough. She
No.
knows.
I was like, you know, what are you gonna know? I mean, I did in the end, but I'm freaking like,
Did you tell her?
I did in the end, but I was just swinging, playing heavy metal. She met me when I was fucking skull shirts and boots and fucking death and Grim Reaper and thrash metal and coming in playing fucking Slayer in the car. Right, I'm ready for therapy. Right?
And now you're talking about a guru and Jesus.
No, there's something wrong. Right? So I look at her and I'm like, I'm telling her I'm not. So she goes, well, you know, because she's really lovely, right?
Right.
And she's like, well, you know, you don't have to. I'm thinking, oh, I really want to. But
Right.
I don't.
Yeah. Because part of you is like, am I crazy? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I want to test.
I gotta talk to somebody about this.
Can I talk to someone else that's like had this kind of experience?
Right.
So they kind of know what's going on. Because
Yeah.
So I said, I told her, I'm like, I just, you know, well, I just told you.
Yeah.
And she's like, wow, really? I'm like, oh, I'm all right. She was giving me permission with it. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, thank you. I'm not mad. No. Oh, thanks. It's white as sweat.
Yeah. No.
Right? Thought I'd lost
Right.
it. Thought I freaking lost it. But I've also seen her go into action with that when I've gone suicidal in front of her. And that's a whole different ball game. Right?
Oh yeah.
Because you know, I was a freaking absolute blooming mess. I remember sitting in her office, just I'm in meltdown. Melt. Don't know what you say to me. I'm in meltdown right now, and I did really been knocked out a couple of times. So it was, you know, it kind of it don't take her long now, and she wants to put me out to just, you know, I'm gone. You know, but she knocked me out, and the weird thing was with that. I was sobbing, crying, and as I was going down under, I felt my sobbing getting lighter and lighter and lighter until I was out. It was the weirdest thing of the realization, like you say, you're awake.
Oh yeah, but you're
it's
out.
like you're not in control. I just gradually felt myself going out, you know, and then whatever she did, I don't remember that one, but I probably see freaking polka dot goldfish or something. Hey man, listen. Have you put your hand out in front of you and they say, right, your fingers are opening. You've done that one.
I know. Yeah.
Right. I'm when you're doing that, looking at my hand, like right out in front of me, and my fingers start opening, and I'm going, close your fingers. And I couldn't. It was like there was this freaking, and I'm like, and of course my therapist, I can see her grinning, and I still have no control.
Yeah. Well, because it's very interesting what it can do in healing. Like I also had the same experience with yoga nidra. I don't know if you've ever done that. But at my brain injury retreat, we did yoga nidra before bed, and then we did one during the day. And at bed, for whatever reason, we're all in this big cabin in Maine doing, you know, on mats and pillows, and she's leading us through yoga. I went out. Like I was out, and it was for an hour, and the only thing I remember is suddenly hearing her calling us back into the room because it was over.
Yeah.
And I was like, an hour felt like a minute. Like it went by so fast, and I was out. I was gone. And I could hear her voice. Like, again, I wasn't out inside. I was there, but I could hear her calling us back in the room, almost like you come back too. And I know hypnotherapy, they bring you back too. You can feel them start wiggling your body or moving. Yeah, I feel up beneath you. And I was like, when I came to, but I'd never had that happen. And I woke up and I was like, how long have we been doing this? And they're like, an hour. And I'm like, I was gone. And they all smiled and they go, that's very normal. And I slept
crazy
like a baby. I slept so good. And we did it again in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I stayed, in the room for that one. And I'm like, we did all this? Like, I went through all your body parts and everything. Like, I don't remember any of that. Like, right? I went, I was gone.
But you're responding. When I've taken people through meditations, because I do that with people, right?
I've done that too.
It's funny how you know, someone will come up out of meditation and they say, how long was I out for? And you go, 20 minutes. What?
Yeah.
20
I
minutes?
did that with a group of kids once at this program, and they were like, we can't do it for very long. We can't meditate. And I went, okay. That's fine. I'll lead you on this meditation. They went for, to your point, 25 minutes. And when they came out of it, you know, and I just let them go to whatever. And they felt like it had only been a couple minutes. And they're like, well, how long do we meditate? I said, you guys have been meditating for 25 minutes. And they were like, what?
Crazy, right?
Yeah. Because they're like, I won't be able to do it for more than 5. I was like, okay, we'll only do 5. They went for 25.
I love it. I love it. And I love, like, you know, we were having a little chat before we got on here, right? And I love that when you got someone that says, oh, yeah, I know how to meditate. Or, you know,
Yeah.
And you know, they might be a bit like, yeah, I know how to meditate. And you're like, okay. And you take them out, you put them out, and they come round. I've had it a few times, and they go, I don't know how to meditate. Like, okay, I've heard that.
Well, it's a different experience. You know what I mean? You have to be open to it. Because I asked my hypnotherapist, and I don't know if your therapist has experienced this. I said, because when I went for hypnotherapy, of course, my friends were making fun of me, like, oh, they're going to make you cluck like a chicken. It's not like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's not like that. But I had asked her, I said, are there people who can't be hypnotized?
Mm.
And she said, yes, actually, those people who don't have an imagination.
Oh, no shit. I've often wondered about that. Why?
And I said, really? She goes, yes. If they don't have an imagination, or they won't allow themselves to have an imagination, they're very difficult. They can't be hypnotized because they're too logical.
Because you got to
won't let themselves go there. Right.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting. You know, I was like, really? And she goes, yeah. So those people we know pretty well, because they'll start talking and they're just gonna, and then we'll be just like, forget it. It's not gonna work for you because you're just not.
No shit.
Yeah.
I've wondered about, because I know there is people, you know, I go out like a bloody light bulb, mate. Done.
Yeah, I do too. I go under pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you go out? Because it's, you know, different. Some people, I've seen a guy take forever. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't take me too long. It's not instant. I mean, I think the yoga nidra experience was pretty instant.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there, but it's pretty quick. I can go pretty quick. It doesn't take me very long. You know what I mean? I'm pretty good at going in because I'm open to it. I'm like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know,
which is the way to be.
Yes, you got to be open to this stuff and walk in and go, okay, I'm going to put aside all my judgment or my skepticism and go, let me just experience in this and see. You know what I mean? Because worst case scenario, it doesn't work. Okay, then it doesn't work. I've lost nothing, but it might help you change something drastically. And so why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
give it a bash, right? I mean, I always say, give it a bash.
Right. What do you got to lose? And that's the way, I mean, but for me, I had to. So it was like, you know, I was looking for anything to heal. So I was like, if it's not hurting me, why don't try it?
So what got you into it then? What got you into meditating and all? Was it your accident or what was it that turned you into your journey and meditating?
Yeah, it was my accident. I mean, I was already on a spiritual journey prior to, but I'd gone to a spiritual living center and was learning about the Course of Miracles, and I was learning all that, but I never really got into meditation and all that until after my brain injury, because, you know, when mine was so severe that it was like, you know, noises, lights, anything messed me up. So I was like, okay, I've got to find a way. And I suddenly had anxiety and I had a little ADHD and I had things I hadn't had. So it was like, and I'm not a big pill popper. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll take it when I absolutely have to take it. Otherwise, it's like, let me see if I can learn how to work with my body. And so meditation and all that really helped me to work with my anxiety and my brain just to get it to calm down, because my brain would race and race and race and race. And I'm like, I need this thing to calm down. Like, it was so bad that I couldn't sleep. I would go to bed at 9 and wake up at 2 a.m.
Ooh, shit.
Because my brain was just going, and they put me on antidepressants. They gave me other meds and nothing was working. I literally had to retrain my brain to sleep. And it took me 5 years.
Oh my God, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
Was your anxieties around the brain injury then? What was it? What was the anxiety? What was it? What was the...
It was the damage to my brain and my brain injury. So it made me anxious where I wasn't. So to your point, I don't have it really bad, but I would have it where I would get anxious for things that are silly. To your point, like the phone, or I didn't have that one, but I would have it like going into areas with a lot of people and just... my brain would go blank at the time.
Yeah.
So if you and I were talking, so that gave me anxiety, because if you and I were talking and I couldn't, like, my brain would just literally go blank.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
So I remember, like, my friends would look at me and just go, like, because I literally would just be looking at you and they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, I have no idea what I was saying. My brain just went blank.
Oh shit, like shut down.
Yeah, like just nothing. So I was just, so that gave me anxiety. So it made me more want to be right secluded, and I couldn't really talk to people. I had to be alone a lot because I couldn't deal with the stimulation. So it was just a perfect storm.
How old were you then?
41.
Oh shit, man. Damn.
Yeah.
A little bit later on and all.
Yeah. Because I mean, after my injury, I was only allowed 15 minutes of stimulation a day.
Wow. Damn.
So that's talking, lights, music, screen, 15 minutes a day.
What would happen if you went by that, past it?
I do more damage to my brain.
Oh shit, it was like that dodgy. Damn it, man.
Yeah, and I was so tired. So you and I could talk for 5 minutes and I would be in bed for 5 days.
Shit.
Because my brain just couldn't handle it. And so eventually it got less and less. But so I had to be alone a lot of the time, and I was sleeping to allow it to heal. And your brain heals very slowly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a slow process. So it's not an easy journey, and not something I wish on anybody, but anxiety, depression is big in TBI survivors because we all get it.
Yeah.
You know, where I had some damage in my frontal lobe and I had some in the back. And when they gave me my neuropsych test, you know, I hit too many X's, and I told her that, you know, and she was really nice because she's, let's see what you did. And I said, I think I hit too many X's. And she goes, oh, everybody says that. I'm sure you didn't.
Yeah.
And she goes, let's look. And she goes, nope, you hit a lot of X's.
Right.
You know, I'm being honest. And so she's like, okay, we have a little ADHD going on. You know what I mean? We're going to have to work with that a little bit. And I went, okay. So, but my insurance didn't cover it. So I didn't get the therapy I needed for that. So yeah, I get it. It's like, to your point, my therapist, you know, she took my insurance, and then my insurance had to change because the neuro center wanted something else, and then she didn't take that one. And so just like your therapist had said to that client, she said to me, listen, I'm not going to leave you, because I broke down in tears.
Right.
I'm like, I can't do this. I can't live like this. And you know, I remember her grabbing me and just saying, look at me. And I went, okay. And she said, I'm not going to leave.
Yeah. It's like
You know what
gold,
I mean?
right? It's like gold, man. Hearing that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
She's like, I am not going to leave you. So we tried to find me another therapist. There wasn't any. And she ended up seeing me for free.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year.
Other people. Yeah.
Yeah. And she had already filled her 2 free slots. So, and I wasn't expecting that, but she just, you know, she's like, I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you. And I was willing. So she didn't. And actually I saw her for a year, and when it was time to leave, she didn't want me to leave. You know,
Oh,
she was like,
got my guys, I don't want to go, you know, it's
right. And she said, she's like, I just enjoy, you know, talking to you. And she was so sweet, and she really changed my life, because without her, I don't think I'd be here right now. And
yeah, that's mine too, mate.
yeah, it was her loving heart, you know, and she said to me, just know that the person that walked in and the person that's leaving,
Mm-hmm.
2 totally different people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's like, you did this work and you should be very proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so it was, so I get it where you're coming from. And I was fortunate, and but you know, when people are like, I don't have the money, I'm like, listen, you got to just keep putting yourself out there, and you got to keep looking, because I know the universe will bring something.
Yeah.
It will make something happen. It did for me.
Yeah. I mean, I have you know, I don't take insurance because I'm not degreed, you know.
Most therapists don't take insurance.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, because I don't hold the,
Right.
you know.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm certified, but I haven't got the degree, but I have a sliding scale, right? And I've also had people that, you know, is genuine, you know, they're not taking advantage or nothing like that of you, you know, and you might say, hey, you know, your session's coming up. Steve, I ain't got it. Don't worry about it. Right? You know, jump on, I'll help you out, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, you do what you can. I even made her bracelets for her kids that she saw who had anxiety, so they could play with the bracelets at school and nobody would know, to your point.
Oh, wow.
But they could play with it. And so I made her a bunch, and she paid me for them.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you're seeing me for, you know what I mean? Like, let me do that. And she was like,
Yeah, no, I'd be the same, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm going to pay you for those. And I was like, Okay.
Yeah. That's a good
But
idea, dude.
yeah. I
Actually,
mean, she was a
right, sweet.
blessing. She was like, I always call her my human angel because it was like without her, yeah, I was in a really dark place,
Me too, yeah, man. Fuck.
and a lot of brain injury survivors go there. Right. Like, and that's what I'm saying for you to be where you are and go through what you've done. There's a lot of work there, and that's what people didn't see. Even for me, when
Yeah.
people would look at me and be like, "Oh, look how you came through," I'm like, "But you didn't see me on the floor crying."
Yeah. Yeah.
Wishing a truck would hit me. I didn't want to take my life, but I was okay if something else took me out.
Yeah. Shit, man. Was it a car accident you had? Was it a car? I don't even know.
Yeah, it was. What it was I don't remember it. I don't remember my accident, and they've told me not to because I'll
I
get
was going to say
PTSD.
it probably better, right?
Yeah. So, but my friends and stuff were there, and I had come in from Canada with my wife at the time. We're not married anymore, and we were gonna go get my bed out of a storage to go take it to a friend's house, and my best friend showed up with her pickup truck, and apparently I jumped on the back of her pickup truck and she gunned it. I flew off the back, and they said you could hear my head crack like a baseball bat when it hit the pavement, but it stayed closed wound, so it didn't.
Shit.
Which they said it would actually have been better if it hadn't stayed closed.
Oh, to
So
leave pressure or something?
right, so the back of my head was like the size of a cantaloupe from all the blood and the pressure. Yeah, so I was rushed to ICU that night, and I had a 1% chance of survival.
Holy shit. You are meant to be here, brother.
Yeah, I am and they thought they were gonna have to do surgery to relieve the pressure, and for whatever
Wow.
reason they didn't. One of my friends called the spiritual center even and called her old church, her Unity Church, which was non-denominational. It was like, we need a prayer service. Like, we need
Yeah.
people
Wow.
just praying because like this is serious. This
Yeah.
is major. But I didn't have healthcare coverage at the time
I don't
because
think
my company had gotten bought out and we were in between. So I was in between jobs and it just happened to fall then. So you figure I was in ICU for 3 days and then, in the hospital for 2 more. Even when they released me because I didn't have coverage anymore and they didn't know what to do with me. But I still didn't know
that's
my
terrible,
name.
man. That's
I didn't know what my year it was. I didn't know anything. And they released, thank God I had friends and family because I'd have been on the streets not knowing to eat. I didn't even know to eat.
holy crap, dude.
Yeah. They just wheeled me out and went, good luck. Don't fall because if you fall, he'll die.
Oh! Holy
Yeah.
Oh!
Right. I found out later that I was supposed to have like a team. I was supposed to have like a therapist and a neuro and a it's like yeah, speech therapist. I was supposed to have a team. I had nothing.
Just carted
Nothing.
you out, done?
They just reeled me out with a I was, still throwing up when she stood me up and I said that. I even looked at my wife at the time and I said, "Did I sign paperwork?" And she's like, "Yeah." I didn't remember. Apparently it was what, 2014. They asked me what year it was. I said it was 1980.
Holy shit. And they still let you go out the door? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, they told my mother, they said, "We don't know what else to do with him." And she's like, he doesn't even know his name. What do you mean you don't know what else to do with him? And they're like, "Well, he's stable." In their mind, I was
See,
stable.
it's really awkward, really difficult to make me just shut up. And I don't even know what to say to that. I'm a bit lost. I'm a bit lost for words. I'm matey.
Yeah. So I was on my own. I knew nothing about a brain injury. I didn't know what was, when they said go see your regular doctor, when I went to go see my regular doctor, they could still see there was blood in my ear because it had come out of my ears and nose when I was in the ambulance. It was bad. It was bad.
You are meant to be here. There's your work will never end.
No, and that's why I lost my taste and smell, and I lost 90% of my hearing in my left ear, so I wear a hearing aid, but I can't taste or smell anything.
Yeah, that's madness.
So when I look at that, that's why I had to, there's a whole story behind that, but I had to, leave eventually where I am and move back home with my parents and get the treatment I needed and look at. But, I look at that and go, I've worked with so many other survivors, and I was blessed that I only came out with what I had, the damage that I had. You know what I mean? Because it could have been much worse.
Yeah, for sure, man. You couldn't be it. You might not have been here. I mean,
totally. I mean, brother-in-law's he was a state trooper at the time, but he's a detective now. But he had told my sister when they got the call to come down, um, he had told her, you know, he's having blood come out of his nose and ears. My sister, yeah, he goes, you need to go now. And he didn't tell her why. And then when she got back, he said the reason being is every time I've come upon an accident where I've seen that,
Yeah.
the person didn't make it.
See, man. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
well, thank God you're here, brother. Seriously.
yeah, I mean, it's a blessing. So every day I look at it and go, it's just a blessing. I got a second chance when so many others don't.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to your point, I don't want to waste it, but it's taken me, I celebrated 10 years this Saturday since.
Wow. Well done, man.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank
well
you.
Freaking done. Look at your freaking journey, matey.
Well, I know.
Holy shit, man. And it's funny. It always makes me laugh when we always look at our journeys ourselves, but then we look at someone else and we go, holy shit, but we're all, like you said, we all have our journeys, right? We all have our thing, right? As far as our journeys, no one doesn't mean it, I mean, I'm looking at you and I'm like, holy shit, but I was in that, like, I went out, right? I've been there a few times, you know what I mean? So, no, thank God you're here, man. It's a blessing having you around and doing what you're doing and, being a spoke. You thought about starting a group around that?
I did. I ran a TBI. I ran a brain injury survivors group for 3 years. And I've run workshops on how to deal with their grief. And at the retreats, I was an ambassador for a group that helps brain injury survivors. And you just get to a point, and I still work with them a lot. But a lot of them want to now, I'm at that phase of how being more incorporated with everyday people, not just survivors.
Yeah.
It's a weird journey, and you just got to figure out how do you fit back in, because you're so different and things have so changed and people don't really get it. And but what I've learned and what I came out passionate about, and that's why your story spoke to me, was because that darkness that people go through, it's real. And I don't care who you are or how you got there, right? I don't care if it's a brain injury, I don't care if it's anxiety, I don't care where it's come from. It's still very real and very palatable, but it's like you can get through it. You can, you know what I mean? You just have to be able to figure out what your path is. And I always look to other people's stories. To your point, when I felt really bad, I would look to other survivors who were doing amazing things and go,
right,
I don't have it that bad.
Right. You know what my therapist said to me when I said that?
What?
Right? I sat in front of my therapist, as bad as I was, right? I sat in front of my therapist one day and she said something along those lines, about talking about somebody that had it bad or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not like that. I ain't got it. Everybody's got it. Someone's got it worse off than me. And she goes, hang on a minute. And I went, what? She goes, does that get rid of your shit?
No.
And it straightened me up. And I'm like, no. So she goes, so what does it matter? Yeah, there's people who's going to have it worse off. It don't get rid of your freaking shit. You don't go, wow, they got it bad. Wow.
People do that, right? They're like, well, people have it worse. And I had people tell me that. But for me, it was more of, it wasn't that. It was like one of my friends, especially, she was dragged by a horse. Worse, you know what I mean? Like learning to walk again, learning to talk. And she had such an inspiring soul that I would just look to see what she was doing. You know what I mean? When I was having a bad day, she would give me inspiration to go, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It was that perspective, because I think that's an important perspective to bring up, like you said, because there will be a lot of people who dismiss it and go, well, okay, but people have it worse. Get over it. It's like, no. This is worse for me.
Right.
I don't care if someone else got it worse. This is as bad for me. I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So I got to figure that out. But if I can surround myself around people that I can inspire me, you know what I mean, that are going above and beyond and go, okay, I see her. You know what I mean? She's going and she's doing it on days where I feel like I just can't do this.
Right.
Then I'm better off. And that was what I did in hoping, going back with brain injury survivors, was let me just inspire you and give you tools to be able to get you to where you need to be.
Yeah, for sure.
And I branched out to other people, Yeah,
because you just spread, right? And it's gone from just that.
Yeah.
So more.
Well, yeah, I would have people write me on Facebook and be like, I'm a cancer patient or survivor, and you watching you go through your injury, and you're
your adaptation, because I don't call it recovery, because you don't recover.
Mm-hmm.
Recovery says you go back to who you were. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
You learn to adapt and become who you are now. And, so they would reach out and say, you just inspired me. Could you share with me how you did that, or how you were able to set your mindset? And, I realized it doesn't matter how you did it. Everybody struggles with something.
Oh, shit, man. I tell everybody you should be in therapy. Everybody.
Oh,
right.
totally.
Get your ass in for there's something, right? Even if you're just going in, I spoke to someone today about it, and I'm like, there's times I go into my therapist and it ain't shit, right? Yeah. I'm not digging. I'm not talking about something that's like bothering me or anything. I'm sharing something that I may be doing. Coming on here was one of them. Right. I'm saying to my therapist knows you without even meeting you, right? She knows you already. So if I introduce you, she'll go, oh yeah, I know you. No. She's never met you. But like today, I had my session today, and I'm on there, and I said, oh, Judith, her name's Judith. I said, hey, Judith, and she's like, what? I said, I go in with Beckett, and she's like, and it was that. Oh wow, right? Yes, it depends. Yeah, you could be. Like when she was like, oh, wow, I was like, oh, I felt good. Right. Yeah. Well, just that interaction with a therapist it gives you that little bit of a boost. It's someone that is taking a 400% interest in you. Right. Yeah. And whatever you're speaking about could be absolutely anything. I know when I get someone sitting in front of me, don't matter what I've been through, what I'm going through, nothing. In fact, it's pulled me out of situations myself. Yeah. Someone's coming on, 100% on board, right? So I will get that person in front of me, switch on. That's gone away, right, 100%. And they can talk about whatever. I mean, we normally go in a direction, but, they might come on and say, hey, Steve, I got someone freaking selling houses, right? First house, sold an house. Holy shit. I've got to tell you, can I tell you a story? This is a funny one. People actually, she laughed as well, this client of mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
She was one of the very first clients that I had. Yeah. Because I started off where I was doing like voluntary, right? I wasn't charging for it. And then when I started charging, it was like, it was low. It was like $25. Right. Right. And even that, I was like, wow, I never made that, man. Chefing, 24. Get out of here, man. Shit, man. I'm like, I'm rich. I've made it. Right. But when I started out doing voluntary, and I can't remember what my point was. I was going somewhere with that. You're
talking about your client and her story.
Yes. So she was the first one that I was getting not crazy money, but I was getting decent like money where I'm like, okay, I'm making a living, right? And one girl, again, I won't say no names, but one young girl, she's on her journey now, she's doing blinding. She was gay, right? And again, here I am. This is the beautiful thing of meetings, the way they go, because it breaks down the barriers again. Here I am, freaking who I am. And I'm going, freaking love you, whatever, right?
Right.
So, and it took a bit of establishing of that, right? So, we start talking, and there was a whole family thing involved, and nobody knew that she was gay, right? I think one member of the family did, but, it was all hush. She was like, didn't want to say anything about it, And so I said, like, where do you want to go with it? And she goes, I'd like to come out to my dad. And I'm like, all right, I'm up, I'm game. Let's go. Right, let's do this. So, she did the work. We started doing the work. And as we was getting towards where it was like, okay, she's starting there, she's comfortable with me now. We have a laugh, because I'm serious when I need to be serious, but I conduct my sessions like I'm doing with you. Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to have humor sometimes. Yeah.
Right? It's just, we'll work when we go to work, and we, fuck about when we, so we was getting the walls where she's getting comfortable in that, and I said, hey, listen. So she's like, what? And she was like, I think she was like 25, young girl, right? I said, yeah, listen. So she's like, what? I says, the day you come out, I'm going to paint my face rainbow. And I'll come in the next session with it, right? So I've got a picture somewhere, right? So she goes, what? And I said, well, the day when you come out and I get the message that you're out, you know, and you're freaking proud of it, next session. So she goes, yeah, right. So, you know, we leave it and we're still doing some work on it and shit. You know, week after week, she's turning up.
Right.
And I've got 2 daughters. So I said, yeah, I need a favour. So they're like, what? I said, can you get like face paint and shit? Because I don't know what I'm doing, right? I would have gone off with freaking, you know, on Depot, right? Again, why is my skin peeling off? You know? Why do I have this? So I said to my daughters, I'm like, yeah, listen, do you know how to face paint there? Oh yeah, what do I do that? Don't worry about it. Like, I need some face paint. I need to be able to paint a rainbow on my face. Oh yeah, they were up for that. The old man, yeah, it's painting, right? So I'm sitting watching TV one night, and I get a text. Pick my phone up, and it's her. I'm out. Holy shit! I was running around the freaking house. I jumped up and I went, "Oh shit!" Like, this is freaking huge.
That's huge. Yeah. No. That's life changing.
I'm like a freaking 70-year-old. Oh my God. Right. So my daughters go out and they come back. You know, my youngest has got a bag. Oh, it's freaking, I don't know, is that face paint? Because I'm thinking it better be face paint.
Right.
My daughters, you know, we can't get it off. No, they didn't. But that was in my head. Right? Yeah, getting this off. So I sit down. Dude, I've got like my whole face is covered all up, like my hair, like up there, my freaking, I'm like blue, green, orange. I'm like, you know, I'm the rainbow, mate, right? Completely plastered, right? And it's our session time. So it was always in the morning, right? It was always in the morning. I think I've got my kids to do before they went to school or something, right? And I'm sitting there, and she comes on, dude. She like came on, disappeared. She like fell off a chair. Laughing. She's like, I didn't think you would do it. I'm like, are you kidding me? You think I'm blowing smoke up your ass? And our whole session was me painting like that. Because I couldn't go watch.
How did she would talk to you like that?
She did it.
I would be like,
I'm in the shower, right? You've got to get it off, right?
Right.
So I go in the shower, dude. Have you seen Charlie, the original Charlie in the Chocolate Factory? Who's the girl that blows up blue? Oh God, I forgot the character.
I forget. I don't know.
Anyway, she's all blue, right? She's a
right.
And dude, that was my head. It went this way, lovely, because it all mixed, and I've got a mirror. Where I am in the shower, I've got a mirror, and over the one, I'm like, oh man, how do I get this off? I've got to work. How do I get this off?
Like, I had to make her feel so good.
Dude, it was,
like, how do you balance like your passion for helping others and taking care of your own needs?
Doing what I'm doing. You know, it really, you know, like I've never been in a position of work to where I get up in the morning and I'm looking forward to going to work.
Yeah.
And it totally helps me with me.
Right.
You know, because it's a lot of it you see is a reflection of you. You know, you see if you've got any kind of mental health or anything and you see somebody with it, you can't help but relate. You know? And just being able to reflect, teaching people what I use, you know, because I walk the talk, mate. And, you know, I'm not blowing smoke up someone's ass and they're not doing it myself.
Right. I'm the same way as a coach and everything. Like, I don't give anything to any of my clients that I haven't used, done myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm with you there.
Right. Because, I mean, that works.
Right.
Why would I give someone something and not, no, I have, you know, I might have read something somewhere and then someone and I'll say to them, listen, I haven't tried this.
Right.
But but I just read this. And then again, you're letting them know you're human. I don't know everything. I read it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Try this out. Give it a bash,
Right.
But no, that really helped me. It really helps me in that way, and in using all the tools, dude, and not filtering on the tools, the meditation. I do Wim Hof breathing. I'm about to do ice baths. I take cold showers. I take my mouth shut at night before I go to sleep. Yeah.
I've heard that from Huberman. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah.
Andrew
Huberman?
Yeah. And, I know there's because I tend to be a mouth breather, but I know it's better. So I'm trying to be very conscious of not, because when I was little, I had to have my adenoids taken out because I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like I'm not getting enough air, but I've heard that taping your mouth shut actually helps a lot.
Yeah. When you force yourself to breathe through the nose, right? It's like all the meditation I do. I like most of it. 90% of it's through the nose.
Yeah.
In and out through the nose. And there's reasons for that, right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest reasons that got me was there's a mechanism within the nose that adds nitric oxide to the air, and the nitric oxide helps your blood vessels relax, which means you're getting better blood flow to the brain, right? So you're automatically sending a signal, right, to your system and your brain. I'm sweet, right? And it allows your freaking blood pressure to come down. Your cortisol levels will start dropping. And you're doing it through the nose, and you've got freaking filters in your sinuses for a reason. If you breathe through your mouth, there's no filter. Right. So, you breathe through your nose, it's going all through, and it actually circulates, I'm told, or I've read, I think, it circulates going out. It doesn't go, it circulates. And if you meditate properly and concentrate on it and think about the rim around your nose, you'll feel it.
For sure. Yeah, you do. Because I know something I used with the brain injury survivors and I used was you inhale for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 8, and that automatically brings your brain down. If you're having an anxiety attack or something where people don't even need to know that you're doing it. You know what I mean? And that longer exhale helps the brain. It triggers the brain to go, you're okay.
Yep.
You're okay right now. You know what I mean? And so it works. I mean, people don't realize that, but there's little tricks that you can do that will help you regulate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything, it's just like the cold, right?
Yeah.
All right, Florida shower ain't probably the same because I've been in the Carolinas and took a shower in the winter. Cold shower, right?
Yeah.
It's cold, right? You're getting hit with like a block of ice instead of it gets cold here, but it's not the same, right? As a shower wise, I'm talking about. But what I am doing now is I'm testing the barriers now. I'm trying to see how far I can take this. I've pierced myself. Yeah. I've taken a straight up freaking needle, and I've had it through my ear a couple of times. I've tried it. I've done it, and I put it through a chunk of my arm as well once, right? And it's me looking for that next thing. What can we do? Now I'm starting to understand where I've come from and what I've done to get where I'm at.
How long did that take you?
To do what?
To get from where you were to where you are now.
I started my journey probably 7 years ago, something like that. And it's been a learning process. Totally. I got introduced to energy work. Again, didn't believe it. Here I am, flashy metal boy. Energy? What's that? Right? I thought you did that in a mosh pit. Is that energy?
Well, it's a different kind of energy.
Spit my plate, you're freaking beating people up. That's right. What? I mean, not literally, but it gets a bit naughty in a pit, right? But I got introduced to different things gently because I was that guy. Prove it to me. I'm still like it. Prove it. Show me, right? And I started getting shown things.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, there's no denying what's going on here. There's shit going on here,
Yeah.
And then I just went, my mind just You know, once my therapist showed me, because again, she's an energy worker as well, because I do pranic healing. I can do pranic healing. I did classes for it. But the way she convinced me that it was there was showing me. And, and she got up, she walked towards me, she goes, "Do you want to know?" I'm like, "Yeah, show me." And I, you know, in the back of my mind, like hypnosis. Yeah, all right. What? This ain't gonna work. Show me what? And I closed my eyes, and she was doing this above my head, like, you know, doing this. And I had my eyes closed, but I could feel this pressure, like this, like on the sides of my head. And I thought, that's weird. I don't remember feeling that when I closed my eyes. What's going on? What's this? And I wanted to unreact. That don't feel right. And I opened my eyes and I looked up, and apparently my therapist said I just burst into tears. But I don't remember doing it. And she looked at me and she goes, "You feel that, don't you?" And I went, "Yeah, what's that?" She said, "That's energy." That was it, man. I'm like, I need to know more of what that is. And what's all this fucking body system shit? And what's a chakra? And how do you manipulate energy? And how do it became, and I'm reading and learning and freaking, I was going into my therapy sessions going, holy shit, with, you know, stuff. And I just wanted to know. My therapist told me to slow down. Because all of a sudden I've got a way.
Yeah.
Shit tons of therapists, all kinds of different medications, you know. Felt I was at a loss. Thought, that's it. Still ain't no hope for me. You know? All of a sudden it's like, meditation, what's that? You know, I dabbled in it. And then a mate of mine's like, "No, it's Buddhism. What's that?" "Oh, let me look at Buddhism." "Oh shit, this talks to me." "Oh, Hindu?" And just started going. "Taoism, what's that?"
Right.
Well, no. So it just started progressing. And, you know, when I started getting into this work as well then, and starting to see what kind of effect that what I'm learning is having on others, showing people different things, you know, things that I've learned. Sometimes like I say, I might have read things in Buddhism. You know, I've got clients to where they, again, not very spiritual. Now I've got them freaking giving me the old respect at the end of the session, because I've introduced different things without them even knowing about it. And then once I've got them by the nuts, mate, I'm like, "Do you know you're doing Buddhism?" Right?
Well, and what's funny is because, right, people always think Buddhism is a religion, and it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, and I tell people that all the time, and they're like, "What?" I go, "It's not a religion. You can be a Jewish Buddhist. You can be a Catholic Buddhist. You could be, right, a Protestant Buddhist. It's not a religion. It's a way of being in life. It's totally different, but it's misconstrued that it's a religion." And I'm like, it's not a religion.
Right. It's nothing, you know, to me. I mean, the Buddha himself said, "Don't preach to me. Don't have 10
no, right."
So, you know, it's a philosophy. And then I saw how it was just bleeding over into Hindu. And then someone said about Taoism, and I'm like, what's that? Well, now I'm getting hungry. So as I started to help other people in this and seeing that, you know, I was getting results with it, and there's like people moving, and like I just told you, I'm introducing things without them really knowing it. And then once they're in it, I'm like, yeah, that's
right. Well, they see it works. Right.
They start seeing it works. Right. So then I just thought, right, where can I take the mind? What can I turn my mind off to? How much control do I really have?
Yeah.
So then now I want to know, you know. So I started playing around with the ice and showers, and, you know, it's a matter of if you're going to go walking into a icy cold shower, I want to do it when I start doing the ice baths. It's what you telling this.
Yeah.
That
it's
is
mindset.
right. So you know, when you switch the shower on, your brain's automatically going, "Ooh, don't like that." Right. Because it's the results of many times of you walking in going, "Oh my God, that's cold." It just links that up. Now cold water is a bad thing for you, right? But you know, when you step back, and don't think I just switch the shower and I'll go, right? It didn't start out like that. It started me standing there looking at the water. Right. So I just started telling myself, it's not cold. Yeah. Right. and starting to realize that I'm not really feeling the cold too much. So if I can do that like that, what else can I do this with? So that's when, recently, not so long ago, and just a red eye. It wasn't a surgical needle or nothing like that. It was just a freaking. In fact, I got a little bump because I didn't sterilise it, mate. One of
We're
those.
not saying that we recommend other people do this.
Yeah, don't mess around with this. This is not something to play around with. I tell you what, I've got to where I want to know, right? I want to know, and I just started to realise that.
We have more power than we realize, and I think that's why we have a lot of power, and it's within your mindset. And that was something I've taught my clients and my groups. You know what I mean? It's all in your mindset and how you're framing it and your perspective. It reminds me of that quote that's like, pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So are you adding suffering on top of your pain? And when I ask people that, they're like, ooh. Right? Because it's like, you don't need to. It's already painful, so to speak. You know what I mean? So how can I shift my mindset to navigate this? And it really is, because I had to do it myself, without the mindset shift, and you're dealing with a broken brain. So talk about
right.
Mindset and dealing with a brain that's broken. It's like, whew.
And then the pieces, parts that need to kick in, maybe not kicking in on what you're trying to accomplish or do.
Right.
It's like,
and you realize that, every one of us, when they look to brain injury survivors, and realize they know nothing about the brain. And my own neuros would come to me and say, I'm going to learn more from you than you're going to learn from me.
Yep.
And I was like, well, what the hell do I do with that? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to be the expert, but they don't know. So everything they thought about the brain isn't true. So they're looking to us to go, what is possible? Because you guys are doing the impossible.
Oh, you've totally done the impossible.
You know what I mean? Well, even survivors, like my one that I told you about with the horse, they said she'd never have above a 4th grade education. She'd never walk again. She'd never do all this. She graduated with an associate's degree. She's walking with a cane.
Awesome.
She just wrote a book.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, she's doing things that they said this will never happen. And so they're looking at us going, whoa.
Yeah.
What? You know what I mean? So you just have to work and go, okay, I can't do this the way I used to do it, but how can I adapt to do it and still move forward?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it is a mindset shift. It's a mindset shift.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean,
cold shower, hot water.
Right. If you don't shift the mind, if you don't consciously shift the mind,
yes,
then you just stay in the program, because you're not challenging anything.
Yes.
You've got to challenge it. It's the whole reason I say about the pain thing that I'm doing. Yeah, people don't go out and freaking start stabbing. I like people who are a little sensible that watch your channel, Beckett.
Well, you never know. You know what I mean? And I always just like to say, you got to push your own boundaries that you're comfortable with. And
right.
You, I like that. You know what I mean? Because you're going, okay, let me see where I can push my
Yeah, I just want to, and I've told my therapist about it. If she would have said, well, you're mad, I would have been like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. But she knows where I'm at.
Yeah.
And she knows
what you're capable of. Right.
Yeah. And she knows where I want to go. Because these are things I talk to her. I'm like, I want to take it to another level. What do you mean? I think I'm going to start experimenting around with because I wanted to pierce my ear again. I didn't do it in the end. I mean, I pierced it, but I didn't put the freaking earring in.
Well, it's like walking on fire.
Exactly.
If you've done a fire walk, you know what I mean? That's all mental of walking across those coals, or you're doing like
absolutely. And they don't burn.
Right.
They don't burn, apparently. They don't even burn.
It doesn't burn.
Oh, you've done it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, I've done a fire walk.
Tell me about it. You drop an hand grenade in. Oh, you kind of skimmed it in like quick. I don't freaking miss a beat, mate. What? Bring it on. What's the matter?
I did. I mean, and it was a mental game before because, you're staring at these hot coals thinking, ooh.
Yeah, man. Shit.
And they're like, trust yourself, trust your body, just go.
Wow.
Just go. And that's, one of my spiritual mentors were there and she's like, just go. Just go, breathe and go. Just go. You got this. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go. And you just breathe and you walk, and it's like, I don't know, it's weird. You get over there and all of a sudden you're on the other side and you didn't burn, your foot is in charge, and you're like, holy crap, I just
Where
walked
did you do that? Where did you do that?
I did it years ago. They had it here. Like one of my friends also, they had a sweat lodge. I was doing all these things where I wanted to do a sweat lodge. That was another thing that was,
I don't even know what that is. Sweat lodge?
Yeah, so a sweat lodge is, an old Native American tradition where they would have this little hut where they bring in hot rocks.
All right.
And so for me, there was this little hut. You would put an offering into the sage or whatever, and they would cleanse you, and you would crawl in. And the idea was that you crawled in as someone and you were coming out as someone else.
Oh, no shit.
So they do it a lot, but it gets really hot in there, and it's pitch black. So you got to know someone who's knows what they're doing. So we crawled in, and there was probably 10 of us in this little, and you're sitting like, cross-legged, like you can feel each other shoulder to shoulder, and the flaps go down, and there's the fire starters who have the rocks that have been burning all day that are heated. And so the person running the sweat lodge calls in, grandfather rock or whatever rock ancestors coming in, they put it in, they pour water on it, and the whole thing just turns into like a sauna. And so you're in the pitch black with the sauna, and you do rounds of it, and you could just release whatever you wanted to release. They called it prayers. So they would say, be mindful other people are talking, but it's pitch black. And so the thing was, once you're in it, if you leave, you can't come back in.
All right. Yeah.
So like the first round, they close the flaps. It's pitch black. And she's like, if you get cold, put your hands on the earth. Or hot, put your hands on the earth. It'll feel cool. And it did. It felt like a bucket of ice. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was crazy. But like the first round, one lady had to leave. She's like, I got to get out. She couldn't do the darkness.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. She couldn't do it. And so it was interesting because I thought when I go in, I should probably sit by the door in case I got to leave. And what was interesting is the lady that was leading it said, let me just tell you right now, if you're thinking you should sit by the door, I was blown. Because you might have to leave. She's like, you're not going to be the one that leaves. And I was like, what? So she didn't know I was thinking that. So I went in and we lost a few as it went on and on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they do another round. They bring a new rock in. They pour the water. You keep, purging and purging to I think we went 10 rounds.
Holy shit, man.
And by the time there was the 10th round, I think there was only 3 of us left.
What did this go on for?
I don't know. I mean, we got in there in the morning and then we had lunch all together. So a few hours, but you know what I mean? So then they would raise the flaps at the end. And there was at the very end, I thought my friend was there with me. I thought I can't make this. I don't know that I can keep going, but I laid down because at that point there was only 3 of us. I could lay down on the ground and it was like, it was like, it was so cool. And then I made it the 10 rounds and then we came out and they had like hoses and they were spraying with the hose. And then we had a lunch that we all shared together and shared our experiences. So the idea was you were rebirthed as someone new.
Wow. Yeah. Man,
yeah.
Coming there and all have just been a big blister. Can I come out now? I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting what darkness, right, and all that does to people.
Yeah.
And
takes away your sensory organ, man. It's like sight's gone.
I mean, you couldn't see anything. You couldn't see your hand in front of it was so dark, and it's small. So, and they do that as like a vision quest. Is a lot of the Native Americans and anybody that's listening, you can add whatever insight you want to that as well. That was just my experience of my sweat lodge. But it was to that. It was for you to let go of the pieces that no longer served you and come out, something that did, and understand that as when you came out, they would sage you again and say, this is your rebirth.
What did you go through? What did you go through? Did you go through any emotion or anything while you was in there? Was there any kind of flashback?
Yeah, there were people crying and there was people, like releasing and for me, it was a big emotional release, of just like, because you're sweating. So you're getting this heat and you're getting this and you haven't really eaten and it's hot and it's like pitch black. And so you have nothing to look at. It's kind of like meditation.
Yeah.
Right? Your eyes if you're closing your eyes, you have nothing to look at. It's like, it's just you.
Right.
and
Right.
all these other souls that you can feel their energy. And I'm an empath, so I can feel their energy, and I can
Oh,
feel.
wow, in the close proximity. Holy shit. So all the emotion going on, could you feel? Could you?
Well, yeah, because like one woman really lost it, and so it was so bad that actually the lady running it had them lift the flaps and like purge the energy out because she was just
Oh, wow.
really releasing. And she's like, "Okay, we need the flaps lifting just to get this energy out of here,
Yeah,
and
man.
then we can close it." Just because she just lost it, you know what I mean? She just
Holy shit.
so. Yeah, it was something I just always wanted to experience, and I did, and it was life changing. It was a life changing moment of like, wow, I understand why this ceremony happens, why it's a
What
sacred.
changed for you?
Huh?
What changed?
My perception, I think, of not only what I was capable of at the time, and this was years ago, but who I was. You know what I mean? I was coming into questioning that and going, who am I, and how do I show up in this world, and how do I fit? And there was just a lot of personal stuff going on, and it just kind of popped up at the right time, and I was like, okay, let me do this. Let me see. So I have a tendency to like to put myself in very uncomfortable situations to push myself.
Yeah,
so
me
for
too.
you, like you're talking about that, but like I signed up for an art dolphin at a meditation retreat in Vermont, which is like
What, sorry? What did you say there at the
called
beginning?
art dolphin. So what it is you meditate like the Buddhist monks. You eat
wow.
like the Buddhist monks.
Yeah.
So we were, which I didn't know, but art was, entangled in that, but it was in the mountains of Vermont, and we would meditate 8 to 10 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
But you had the same cushion. You sat next to the same person. We weren't allowed to speak at all.
Oh, wow, it was just silent. Yeah.
It was noble silence. We ate with each other in the ceremonial room, and you would have just enough. So you have these specific bowls, the specific fork and spoon like the Buddhist monks do, and they would feed you just enough food to where you took enough so everybody in your circle would get enough food.
Yeah. So
and then you would all eat together, and it became this dance. It was very interesting. Like you had to learn to eat together. You had to learn to finish together because you couldn't clear until everybody was finished. It was,
wow.
It was a lot. But at the end of it, you had 50 people who didn't talk and yet had all bonded.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And that was another, life-changing moment. No words were spoken, and yet I'm still good friends with a lot of them. You know what I mean? It was like, it was just mind-blowing. So I tend to like to put myself in situations that I know are going to push me beyond my comfort zone to grow.
Yeah. And it's the same as what I, like I say, with what I've been messing around with, it's that like, where can I push this?
Right.
Because if I can push this, when it comes to pain and things like that, there's people who's had surgeries with no anesthesia, right?
Right.
Just and they will say, "Hang on, let me meditate a minute," and they'll put themselves out and they go ahead and they're freaking proper surgery. No, not like piss balling about stitches or something like that, right? Even that would hurt. You've got to mun me up, bro.
The placebo effect. That's where it came from in I think it was the Civil War, where they ran out of anesthetic, and they had to operate on this guy, and they lied and said this is anesthesia, but they lied, and yet he had no pain.
Right, mind.
That's where the placebo effect came out, and they're like, "Oh wow, wait, we can do this."
Yep.
You know what I mean? And when I got certified in mindfulness, we would go to the cancer ward in the hospital, people who were in pain, and lead them through a guided meditation.
Yeah.
And they actually studied it and realized we reduced their pain by 85% just through meditation.
And a lot of people don't like. I remember I spoke to my wife about I'd love to get it in with kids in schools and shit, right?
Yes.
Like be able to conduct a talk and talk about how you can help you, because you ain't got a freaking class in that. Not that I know of. I've got kids that have gone through school, right? No. They're just left up to their own devices, and a lot of times they're coming in sweating balls because they're like don't know how to handle their end.
Right.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing is there's tools out there for people to use.
Right.
And that's the sad part. And hopefully people will get that as we expose it more and more, but it is. They need it in schools. They need it more than ever.
Believe in it. Me and you, Beckett. Let's go, man.
Right.
Let's get it out there. Beckett and Buddha. You can't possibly go wrong, Beckett. Nothing, right? We're in. right?
My friend, I literally could talk to you all night. I mean, I'm going to bring you back on. But so I want to wrap this up because we've gone up way over, but that's quite all right. I have enjoyed all of this. I want to ask you a question that I ask everybody because there's so much more of your story I really want to get to. So I'll have to have you come back on. But in this question, I want to see your thoughts on this. So in a world constantly seeking answers, what's the most powerful question you've asked yourself that led to a profound shift in your perspective or life direction?
What am I capable of? Right?
Yeah.
Like kind of what we've just been talking about. Right?
Yeah.
What's next? What am I capable of? You know, you have these tests and shit, right? But it's like, as you tick some of these things off, because if you'd have asked me that question a long time ago, I'd been like,
right.
But it's like, you know, there's a lot of things that I've accomplished with people and myself. So what am I capable of?
I love it. I love it, my friend. Where can people get in touch with you and find you?
I've got my own podcast, just like yourself, right? Getting Real with Cockney Buddha, spelt with Gettin. Getting. My daughter told me that. She said that's the way to do it. I'm like, all right, I'll go with it. So Getting Real with Cockney Buddha. I'm on Instagram. You know, you can follow me on Instagram. They can find me on you. You follow me, I follow you. So you know, and I've got a YouTube channel. So if you go and look for Cockney Buddha on YouTube, you'll see this face on all the little thumbnails, because my mate's like, you want to put pictures? I'm like, yeah, you know, I've done pictures in there, but it's like I've been told the man with the dark glasses, because I've always got dark glasses on and I'm walking off ready, you know. So I've been known as the man with the dark glasses. So I'm like, okay, that's probably something to, you know, just keep showing, you know. So yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, Instagram. You know, if you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me across any of those platforms. And there's, you know, beautiful podcasting that we do to communicate with people. So yeah, man. And I want to get you on mine as well. I want to talk to you as well. You got a story. You ain't getting away with it, Beckett. I mean,
anytime, I'll be happy to.
You ain't getting away with it, Beckett. You're gonna get the light shone on you, my man.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being on here so much. You are such a blessing.
Seriously, thank you. Thank you.
Everybody else, stay curious, stay empowered, and keep shining your unique light. We'll see you in the next one.